there? Are you awake? Are you listening? Are you scared, angry, or are you just hoping for a revelation? Well, after last night, you should be all of that and more. You're listening to Petals and Thorns on KKBN, the sounds and news of Bucharest by night. I am the Deadly Rose, your emotional, educated, empathetic, eloquent enunciator of engaging, essential, exciting, and evocative events. For most of you, the following retelling of yesterday's Elysium happenings will not come as a surprise, and by now I believe it is safe to assume that most of the city's kindred know of it. Still, in case some of you fledglings are still not so blissfully ignorant of the massacre that took place in the Athenaeum Park, know that the Second Inquisition finally dared strike. I won't go further into details because just a few minutes ago I've received an audio recording from a would-be reporter aspiring, I see, to join our crew here at KKBN and asking us to play it for you folks. So I'm going to do just that and directly hear from this lovely individual what has indeed transpired.
Good evening Morningstar, good evening Bucharest. This is Beth News Live with the latest updates on your favorite coterie of neonates. Taking a trip to the past, specifically a couple of nights ago, our friends visited an abandoned hospital's basement. Though, calling it a basement would probably be an overstatement, cause the place looked like a vagina and smelled like, well, a dead one. Why were they there? Perhaps to admire the outdated architecture and rusty metal, or the impressive fleshwork, or perhaps to kill a fucking old vampire of the Tzatziki clan. Yes, you heard me right. The coterie destroyed the old dragon who eats babies for breakfast. Was it easy? Hell no. The hands were almost drained to death. Not in the fun way, if it weren't for dear Count Rhapsody, who did his bloody spiritual mumbo-jumbo and helped the entire group break free from the fleshy coffins their enemy had crafted just for them. Thoughtful, wasn't he? And then, out of nowhere, stepping out from the shadows was the help that was so much needed. A dark mage doing parkour, but with guns! And a majestic, albeit terrifying, silver werewolf to the rescue. And that is when Mars, with their help, managed to shove a bomb that was kindly gifted by an anonymous source down the Tzatziki's throat, and it went boom. Well, it was beautiful, I think. I didn't get to see the explosion. But the shoving part was like a Renaissance painting. We need to get that commissioned. But that is not all, dear listeners. I have more tea to spill for you. Next up, we find ourselves in Nosferatu territory, where our zealous friend, you guessed it, Count Rhapsody again, shot a poor little baby in the leg because he dared being invisible in his own haven. Hope you're doing well, friend. Let me know if you need some painkillers. Despite being shot and slightly interrogated, Baby Nos was kind enough to lead the group to his very nice clan headquarters, where they found Sheriff Aman, dun dun dun, sporting the latest fashion of burnt tactical gear and heavy marks of PTSD. I'd say it suited him, but that would be unnecessary, cause we all know this man looks good in anything. But the Tzatziki shenanigans were not over. No, more fleshy monster thingies clawing their way in through the roof, walls, ground. Wait, no, actually, they didn't come from the ground. Scratch that. Everyone had to fight for their lives, and that is when, dear listeners, we need to take a moment and appreciate the stabbing and leadership skills of Azra. I actually don't know their last name. You all know Sphinx though. They rose to the occasion and helped slay the abominations. Admiral Job, bravo! And thus, dear Angel also remembered who he was. Now I should say the fight was won. They returned to the surface. Everyone was happy. The end, right? Ha, ha, and ha. Not quite. Because next up, we have the exclusive coverage of the Emergency Elysium. Did you not have the chance to attend? Lucky you! The event didn't start great, with our Malkavian friend from the theater club sensing a disturbance in the force. A tremor. I felt it too, in my panties. Unfortunately, it wasn't Alexander Angelov's hand, or face, or anything really. Use your imagination, it's not that difficult. Soon after the Queen and temporary Sheriff Shadows arrived, he wanted to gloat and show off his latest catch, thinking that'll secure him the position he so desires apparently. He and his men caught none other than Sam's werewolf friend, Dee. This was not appreciated, to say the least. Sam would have torn the La Sombra in half had she not been held back by Alexander. Lucky her. The Queen ordered the release of the Fury, but before anyone had time to calm down, boom! No, not another explosion. The owl primogen, who was observing everything from a balcony, turned into a raisin and died permanently. Condolences to the owl clan, your primogen will be missed. The last person seen with him, raccoon primogen Amandine Sanchez, is the prime suspect and was already arrested, pending further interrogation. The investigation was forcefully paused by the arrival of our nemesis, the Second Inquisition. They announced themselves by releasing a cloud of red gas that filled the air and obliterated at least one group of kindred that arrived late to the party. Ex-Sheriff Shadows ordered the evacuation of the building, but after Sheriff Aman's and Count Rhapsody's insistence of checking the safety of the alternative exit route, it became apparent that there was no way out. Armed with more red gas, crosses, swords, and an extensive knowledge of Latin, the SI was hell-bent on breaking in and spreading their Jehovah's Witness bullshit through stabbing and burning. An explosion delivered by truck, caused by another kindly gifted bomb, slowed them down a bit. But, unfortunately, not enough to guarantee a safe exit. Sent to cut off the power so that Daddy Shadows could do his dark magic. Rhapsody, Red, and I mean Ellie, fought more SI trying to get in from underground tunnels, one of whom was a French fire priest or something. With the lights out, our not-so-friendly neighborhood La Sombra created a dark passage through which everyone could escape, but not without he himself getting hurt in the process. The park out front had turned into a battlefield, with more explosions and gunfire. Sure enough, Morningstar showed up, fabulous as always, cutting soldiers in half. And do you remember the silver hurricane of a werewolf from the basement? They made yet another appearance, ripping SI apart and smacking them with their own cars. Meanwhile, Sheriff Aman took some Inquisitors for a drive into the nearby hotel's lobby, as the Queen was escorted to a safe, secret location where our main cast also quickly retreated. That is all the news I have for you, but don't worry, I'll be back with updates. For KKBN, I am Beth News. Back to you in the studio, Morningstar. Good night, Bucharest, and don't forget to do drugs.
Wow, that is some Pulitzer-worthy piece of journalism, if I may say so myself. Thank you, Beth News, for sharing that with us. I'll make sure to properly show my appreciation next we meet. Meanwhile, all I can tell you, my dark little doves, is to stay safe and be smart about your nightly misbehaving, because these Inquisitors are no joke. It is, without a doubt, the time to decide if you want to fight or flee the city, because I feel this is just the beginning of something much, much worse. Whatever you choose to do, darlings, and I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't say this, please don't let it spoil your joie de vivre or envivre. Anyway, as always, as much as you can, savor the night, Bucharest. Savor the night.